It's time to do a player attack. We've had the enemy attack program now. Now we're going to decide what it's going to look like to attack from the player to the enemy. So I'll call it player attack here. I'll just put a comment so I know what I'm working on. Now, underneath this, I am going to do the exact same thing with this. I'm going to teach it to the computer, make it a function, so I can hide it and use that whenever I want. So I'm going to say define, def, player attack. Again, that's just a name I made up. It's nothing special in Python. And you need to put these little parentheses afterwards to show that it's a function. Now, what do I want to happen in a player attack? Well, I'm going to just do something really simple to start with. I'm going to ask the user what attack they would like to use. So I'll say, maybe I'll just use the variable attack. And I'll say input which attack shall I use? So ask the player. And then after that, I'll say, I'll get the computer to print and say, what was the name of my guy again? Fredosaur, but I can just use player name. So I'll say player name uses whatever is in attack here. Let's just test that little bit. Now remember, if I hit play, nothing's going to happen because I've taught the computer to do this, but I haven't asked it to do it. So if I write player attack, the computer will do it once. Which attack shall I use? Bounce. Predator uses bounce. Okay, so that's working so far. Again, I might just tidy up here, put a full stop on the end. Also, just one thing quickly, if you want to keep something like this for testing purposes, but you don't want it to necessarily run, just it's called commenting it out, putting a comment sign in front of it. What happens? What do I want to happen after it says player uses this attack? Well, to be honest, I probably want it to do some similar stuff to the enemy one here. I probably want it to wait for a moment and then choose a random damage. So I'm actually going to copy that stuff, hide it away again. That's now on the wrong indentation. There we go. It's really important that everything inside this function is indented, otherwise it will think the function is over. So it's going to set attack to whatever input you put. It will then print Fredosaur, in this case, uses and the name of the attack. It will then sleep for 2 seconds and it will work out the damage. Now, I actually want to make this a little bit easier for the player than for the enemy. So I'm going to do a range of 6 to 18. So on average, a player attack is going to do a tiny bit more damage than an enemy attack, just to make it easier for the moment. Now, let me go back and have a look what happened here. I actually printed it inflicts this much damage. I probably want the same thing in my next one. I'm actually going to copy all of this and just make some changes. So print it inflicts that much damage. Yeah, I want that definitely. Player health. Now, I don't want the player health in this case to change. It's the enemy health that's going to change. Enemy health equals enemy health, what it used to be, minus the damage. And this time I will show you the shortcut for that. You just say minus equals damage, and that'll take away damage from enemy health. Enemy health minus equals damage, and time.1 sleep again. And then it says your health is now, again, I'm going to copy all of this stuff from the previous one. Say your health is now, but again, we want enemy health here, etc., etc., etc. Now I'm going to hit play and run this code. I know it's not going to work because I just want to demonstrate what attack shall I use. Kick. Predator uses kick, and now it's going to crash. And the reason it's going to crash is, remember last time we said that inside a function, it's like its own little private world. So if we want the function to know that enemy health has come from the big, outside scary world, we need to, if you see what we did up the previous one, we need to say global enemy health. Now let's see if that runs. Which attack shall I use? I don't know, spit. It inflicts 12 damage, your health is now 38. Oh, I don't want to say your health is now 38. I want to say, what was the enemy's name? Enemy's name was Scary Dude, but let's use the variable enemy name. Now again, if we want to use one of the external variables inside this function, we just have to write global here. Enemy name. Let's see if it works. Which attack shall I use? Run away. Fredixor uses run away. It inflicts 11 damage. Scary Dude's health. Scary Dude apostrophe S. Scary Dude's health is now, etc., etc., etc. Fantastic. Now, here is the absolutely amazing thing about this. Like I showed you in the last video, once I hide both of these, and I probably don't need these comments anymore because it just says exactly what they do. See how beautifully clean that is in your code. You've got something called enemy attack, player attack, and you sort of have an idea of what it does. If you forget what it does or you need to make changes, you can just unfold the code and change it. But this is going to make it so much easier to be working with your code. You're not going to have to think about how it works inside it. You can just think of it sort of as like a black box that doesn't, you don't need to waste any mental power thinking about that code. You just know what enemy attack and player attack does. So if I go down here, I can start to make a little bit of a game. I can say maybe we'll start with player attack, and we'll do enemy attack, and maybe we'll do that twice. Okay, so remember, these don't get the computer to do anything until you actually call them. So this is the code. I'm just going to call it run the game for the moment. This is the code that's actually running the game. It's going to run a player attack, then an enemy attack, then a player attack, then an enemy attack. So if I hit run there, which attack shall I use? Kick. I'm just making these up, by the way. Predator uses kick. It inflicts 15 damage. Scary Dude's health is now 35. That makes sense. Scary Dude uses swipe. It inflicts 8 damage. Your health is now 42. Which attack should I use? Hit. Predator uses hit. It inflicts 18 damage. Scary Dude's health is now 17. Scary Dude uses vomit. It inflicts 10 damage. Your health is now 32. And that's the end of the game. Clearly, we need this to go on until one player gets to 0 or lower health, and we'll show you how to do that in the next video.